Welcome to our visual storytelling deep dive. I'm pretty sure this is the first global event we've ever done that is organized around a specific set of features rather than just a specific persona. So I hope this is a really fun 45 minutes to an hour. Um, One other note here, well, I'll get to this in a minute, but we're definitely going to leave time for questions. And you can leave those in the chat or the Q&A feature. We will be combing through the Q&A during the event, and then towards the end, we will get to answer your questions. Yeah, preferably Q&A, please, but use the chat to communicate amongst yourselves. So welcome. Firstly, I do see some familiar faces among the attendees, but if you're new to Gamma, we are trying to create a world of infinite possibilities through your content. Our mission is helping people bring their ideas to life, providing access to the best tools so that anyone can share their ideas effortlessly. The question we ask ourselves when we get out of bed every morning is, what if creation felt like pure imagination? Some of the new visual tools we're going to show you today really get us closer towards that ultimate goal. Um, Today's team. Me, I'm the content lead, Akiva Gottlieb. Diana is our head of core product. She's going to be handling a lot of the presentation today. Amanda is our community manager. And in the chat, we also have Deho from our customer experience team. Say hello. Hopefully, we're some familiar faces already. Today's agenda. Firstly, this will be recorded. We're going to start with a quick welcome and intro. Diana is going to help lead a feature demo to help you understand our core visual tools. We're going to move on to a live Gamma build where you're going to see in real time how we transform text content into visual splendor. And then we'll definitely save some time for community Q&A at the end. Want to make sure you all know about an upcoming event on August 19th. This one actually is for a specific persona group. If you're not a teacher, you may not know that a lot of teachers use Gamma in really creative ways in the classroom. So we're doing an event on August 19th. Again, it's a Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. This should be really exciting. For those of you who are teachers in the room, please make sure you show up. Or if you have friends who are teachers and might benefit from using this product, please send them our way. This one we're focusing mainly on higher education, so colleges and universities. Folks are really getting started with preparing for the fall semester in August. So I'm going to drop the link to that in the chat. But now I'm going to turn it over to my peer, Diana, who will be sharing her presentation, and you'll see me again in a few minutes.
Amazing. Hi, everyone. It's so great to be here. I joined Gamma recently, although I've been close with the team for a long time, and it's so exciting to meet our incredible community. Today I want to share all the features we've been cooking up for you, and that'll really be the main focus. But first, I wanted to take some time to talk about the why behind Gamma. Why do we all wake up every day to come to the office and build something amazing for you? Um, so there's a phrase that means a lot to me, tools for imagination. At Gamma, we build tools for imagination. And, really the purpose behind everything we do is creating powerful AI tools to help you transform and share your thoughts with beautiful presentations, websites, social posts, and anything else you can dream. Um, I want to underline that we're building Gamma because we believe in you and your creations. And for me personally, I started my career as a PM on the PowerPoint team at Microsoft, if you can believe it. I've worked at startups big and small. I've moved all over the world to try to build incredible products that touch millions of lives. And I've never seen anything like the reception that Gamma's received. And that's because of all of you. I think that's because you all have big ideas that you've been craving a way to get out there. And we are so motivated to come to our office in Potrero Hill every day, all 40 of us, and make it better every day for you. So first, just to orient, yes, today we'll be talking about some of our newer features, but really Gamma is for visual storytelling in general. I think all of you know this. That's probably why you come to us again and again, and we feel a lot of responsibility to deliver on that. Gamma has so many visual features, but just to mention a few, we've got themes. Themes are a way to keep your slides effortlessly on brand and convey the visual tone that you want to set with consistency. And I think that that's such a key for me as a visual storyteller is that consistency breeds trust. And if everything in your presentation, your website, your social cards, if it all looks of a piece, that conveys care and that encourages people to engage and lean in. Also, sometimes it just looks pretty, and that's fine too. We'll talk about this later, but I think that aesthetics matter, and partly they matter just like fashion matters because it's part of how we present ourselves. It's part of how we convey confidence. And if you like the way something looks, you're going to present it with more confidence. And Gamma is designed to be a tool with a lot of visual range so that we can match a lot of visual preferences. And that means yours as well. Another kind of core Gamma feature is images. I would be remiss not to mention images because images are so powerful in Gamma. Many of you know and love our generator flow, where you can input a few lines of text all the way up to a robust outline and get out a complete presentation in seconds. Um, but I think that what's less known is that those AI image generation tools also flow through to the editor experience. So if you are putting the finishing touches on your presentation, your website, your social cards, and you have an idea for the perfect image that would express your idea more clearly, you can make that in place. And we'll show that in the live demo. But I didn't want to skip over that because images are, it's a tale as old as time, right? A picture is very expressive, and there's so many ways to pull in and select and even create pictures in Gamma. Finally, the focus of today is visualizations. We have a number of different tools for visualizations, and we're adding more and more because we've heard from you that this is the number one thing that makes your presentations feel higher impact, feel, more polished, feel like you can be taken more seriously. And, one visualization doesn't cut it. We've got to have a lot to meet all your different needs and so that every Gamma feels fresh. And we've built all our systems to enable that kind of heartbeat of adding more and more options for you over time. So one of the things I'd love to hear maybe in the Q&A is what visualization options you'd love to see because we're always adding more. So I'll get into the specifics in a moment, but I just kind of wanted to orient us on the range of visual options in Gamma. There's a lot more than what I'll be talking about today, but of course in the live demo with Akiva, it'll all come together and you'll see some of how the rest of our visual tool suite can help you communicate the way you want. So just going back in time a bit, I was a history major in college. I had to break my way into tech. And so I always love to look for the origins of these phrases that we say unthinkingly every day. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Where did that come from? Well, there's quite some lore to it. So I encourage all of you to dig into it in your spare time because I had a lot of fun learning more about this. But I think that the closest I could come to a definitive answer is this advertisement from 1913. One look is worth 1,000 words. Um, and I think that this is an advertising phrase, right? It's designed to make a point, but the point doesn't work if it doesn't resonate. And I think why this resonates when you read it in 1913 or you read it now over 100 years later is because it makes sense. It's how most of us feel is that we'd rather see something visually than a wall of text. Getting into the numbers, of course, this is also fun. I'm kind of like a numbers person as well. So I tried to dig in and really put some shape to what is it about visual storytelling that is so high impact. For one thing, our brains process visuals a lot faster than text. Some say 600 times faster. Also, the majority of people are visual learners. We could dig into the definition of exactly what's a visual learner, and everyone has a range of ways they learn. But I think it's safe to say that if you found someone off the street and showed them a picture or a wall of text, they'll choose the picture because it communicates more faster. And then finally, content with relevant visuals gets nearly twice as many views. Now, this is also dependent on the context. What is that kind of channel where you're sharing it? How many views could it get? If you're sharing one-to-one, of course, you're not going to get extra views because it's one-to-one in the first place. But to me, it speaks to that larger pattern of visuals are some of what causes your audience, the people you're trying to communicate with, to lean in and be able to really hear what you have to say. But for me, it goes way beyond numbers too. It goes way beyond history. It goes way beyond numbers. Beyond the wall of text is a beautiful garden of purposeful communication. And when I personally think about why visual communication matters to me, it's about three things. First, it's about setting the tone. this starts with the theme. What visual language are you speaking, and is that recognizable to your audience? If you're communicating in a professional setting, you might want to use some subdued blues, some stark whites, something that communicates that visual language of seriousness. If you're representing your company that you've built, you're going to want it to feel more you, feel more personal, feel more different and differentiated from everything else that's out there, especially if you're the entrepreneur, the solopreneur, the consultant who is standing in front of that information, owning it. Um, there's also this aspect of showing care. Some of this is borrowed from a previous generation of tools where adding visuals took more time, and thinking about what is really the message you want to send and what's the perfect visual for that was more of a time-consuming project. But even now, I believe that communicating visually is differentiated for your audience because they see that by choosing to communicate visually, you were thinking of them. You weren't just thinking of how to word vomit, your message over to them. You were thinking about where are they coming from? What's important to them? How can you crystallize the few key points in a way that really gets it across? Finally, and I mentioned a bit of this earlier, visual storytelling is about sharing your message with pride. And I know for sure for me, even when I was creating this presentation for all of you today, I had so much fun choosing the colors and choosing the images and thinking about what did I want you to take away from this? And also, what did I want to say? What was important to me? What were, if I could only say three things, what were the three things I would say? And even choosing this visual of a beautiful field of flowers to kind of connect that idea of beyond the wall of text lies a garden of possibilities. And sharing with pride means that you thought about every detail. And that doesn't mean you had to futz with the formatting to create every detail. It means that everything's on purpose and you feel good about what you're sharing. So that's a lot on the why. I always like to orient on the why because, you are all choosing to spend your time with Gamma today and also with Gamma as a tool every day. And so I think you deserve to hear from us what's important to us and how we build, and also have the chance to share what's important to you in return. But let's get into the fun stuff. I really want to share all the features that the amazing engineering team here has been building for you. So I'm going to introduce a few new tools today for visualizing your big ideas. Some of these are augmentations of features we've had for a while. Some of them are brand new, never been seen before in Gamma, but all of them are designed to work together to help you communicate your big ideas visually. So the first feature I have to share is called Smart Diagrams. This is our all new feature for visual storytelling. I'm going to open up these nested cards, one of my favorite features of Gamma, so that you can take a peek at some of the smart diagrams in the wild, in their natural habitat. So one of the new tools we have is the Venn diagram smart diagram. And I was very happy to see, of course, we built it, but it's always fun to see when I really have a message that I want to share, that when I inserted this smart diagram, it came in perfectly on theme, and it even picked up from the context of the presentation what might go in these slots, what might be the intersection. Visual storytelling plus data and tools equals smart diagrams. Of course, I could spend more time thinking about exactly what word goes in there. Is data and tools exactly right? But to me, it's really fun to have a starting point that looks good enough that I can think about the important things, how to get across the message I want to get across, instead of how to make the tool bend itself to make the picture that's in my head. Another smart diagram that I wanted to show you is Bullseye. So Bullseye is a fun one because it has this concept of what is at the core and what is the outer ring. So here, the smart diagram that was AI generated, the content inserted automatically, has visual storytelling at the core, central to effective communication, brain processing, visuals process 600 times faster than text, visual learners, and then content impact is kind of the outer ring. That's the final result. So, these are just two of the many smart diagrams. Just to show you a few more, I'll go ahead and go to our insert menu. Many of you likely use Gamma mainly through the generate flow. You're putting in a few lines of text, you're putting in a full outline, and then you're getting a first draft. We'll show that flow later when Akiva goes through the live demo with me. But for those of you power users who are here to learn more about what Gamma can do, I always like to show the insert menu and all of our editing features. So I'll show those for a moment. So how did I add this smart diagram? I went ahead and went to the insert toolbar, and then I went to this nice little new tab and I clicked it. and I saw all the options available to me. I saw a Venn diagram, I saw a chain, I saw a bullseye, which you just saw. I see ribbon arrows and on and on. If I was going to add one more, I think the one to add is swoosh. I really like swoosh because it makes a big visual impact. So let's go ahead and see that on the next slide. So the next nested card actually shows some smart diagrams that are more about popping on the slide. To me, when I design a presentation, I always like to think about what is the hero message? What is kind of the peak of the arc of the presentation? Where do I want people to pay the most attention? And how can I get them to lean in and understand this slide is not like all the other slides. This slide has something important to say. So some of our smart diagrams are designed to have that pop, have that visual impact. So you can see swoosh is one of them. You can go ahead and see that there's storytelling, there's impact, there's imagination, there's care. This is very similar to bullet points, but it makes a much bigger impact on the slide. So you have this colorful designed swoosh that kind of shows these are ideas that flow together. We also have things that intersect, meaning and impact, like this iceberg, a very common classic thing to want to share in a presentation. But how many times have you racked your brain trying to find the perfect piece of clip art or the perfect stock image and then labeling, each part of it? Also, icebergs in the wild don't look like icebergs, in our heads. And so it's that kind of 11 p.m., stress of, I know what I want to see, but how can I make it real? So here's an example of a smart diagram that showcases an iceberg, and there's, what's above the water, and then there's what's below the water. And each of those also comes in with an icon selected thoughtfully by the AI so that you're starting with something that's reasonable, and then you can tweak it and make it perfect from there if you want. So those are two smart diagrams in situ, but let's go ahead and insert a new one like we were getting into a moment ago. So I'd actually love to hear, votes from the audience. What would you like to see? Is there one you'd like to see me insert right now? I'll wait a moment and I'll talk through some of my favorites in the meantime, and then I'll ask Akiva for the crowd favorite. I really like Nested Diamond, not to sway you too heavily. I think Nested Diamond tends to look really nice. Pinwheel's fun. Hot air balloons matches my background. So those are a few of the options that jump out at me. But Akiva, are there any nominations from the audience?
I'm hearing a wide variety. Bubbles, Quadrant, some fans of Hot Air Balloon, Iceberg, Puzzle, Pinwheel has 2 votes. So I think
All
that's
right. Pinwheel, I think, is the winner. The people have spoken. So let's go ahead and insert. Um, so you can see this is coming in on the first slide, and we'll go ahead and look at what it came up with. So we've got this pinwheel showing that you can develop a concept, refine the product, launch and share, and visualize ideas. Again, in some ways it's similar to bullet points, but in other ways it's different. It feels different to be able to have this idea of almost a flywheel that's in motion. And sometimes there's something subtle you want to get across that's about how all these ideas connect to each other. So that's when I reach for smart diagrams when I'm manually editing a presentation, is trying to figure out what is the sense of what I want to get across and what will be the high impact visual that gets that across without words so that people can get the point and then drill in to understand the meaning. So that's smart diagrams, and we'll for sure get more into this in the live demo. Welcome your questions in the chat and Q&A so that we can make sure to tune the live demo to your interests. But now I'd like to move on to talking about smart layouts. Smart layouts are a feature that have been in Gamma for some time. They're really part of what makes us special. Smart layouts are a way to organize information, to highlight key points. They're responsive, they accommodate a little bit of text or a lot of text, they reflow on mobile, and you'll notice that our generator loves smart layouts. This is on purpose because we kind of give our generator some hints about what's worth loving. We love smart layouts as the team at Gamma because they are just this instant way to teleport to an outcome that so many of us have struggled with in traditional slides products of, I want 4 boxes across the slide and I want them all to be the same height and I want the colors to be right. Why is this so hard? In Gamma, it's not so hard. It's something that's built right in. So if we go and open up this nested card, you can see 2 of our newer smart layouts. One of them, a personal favorite of mine because it's so classy, is called Process Steps. Process Steps has a thin line that's theme aware. It has thin, beautiful text that's theme aware that mentions the kind of one, two, three. And then you can have a key message and you can even have text under that as well. And this is amazing for things like agendas. It's amazing for something where you have more of a minimalistic feel you're going for in a presentation. You want it to be photography forward, but you still want to add a little bit of structure to your ideas. And then another layout, this is another new one that we call the leaf layout. Yes, these are boxes, but they're also more than boxes. Something I notice when I'm looking at presentations is that even something as simple as the shape, the key shape that's shown on a slide, helps to convey care. I think that leaves would be perfect for a presentation that's about ecology or a presentation that's about sustainability or something that's about growing a business. Anything that has that kind of light connotation of a leaf or progress or growing. Why use a rectangle? Why be, we call it, again, we call it boardinary. Why be boring? Why be boardinary when you can be a little bit more tuned and purposeful? So those are two of the smart layouts that we've added recently, but there are so many more. Just to open the menu, the way that you find smart layouts is you go to the insert toolbar, you click smart layouts, and you'll see so many that it's hard to even fit them all on one screen. A few of the other new ones are labeled boxes, minimal timeline with boxes, looks so good. And this is really a playground for you. The generator knows about all of these, so the generator will have its own opinions about when to add them for you, and you'll see that in our demo with Akiva. But I also wanted to make the point that if this part is fun for you, if once you have a presentation that you're confident is going to have impact and that you can deliver with pride, those finishing touches can sometimes be a way of you connecting with the content more deeply. And certainly that's my experience. For me with Gamma, getting to 80%, 90% good in one shot, and then spending my time really meditating on the content by making the formatting perfect to my intent. With the kind of relaxation of realizing it's already good. If I had to present right this second, we'd be in business. I think that that's really the Gamma difference, is feeling like it's already good, but how can I have pride to make it even better? So smart diagrams and smart layouts were two of the tools I wanted to show today, but I also wanted to highlight some of our AI editing features. AI isn't just for the generation flow in Gamma. It's also something that flows through the entire product and is there when you need it. And we always like to share the ways you can access that. So one thing that I'd like to share is this amazing little sparkle menu that exists on every card that's called Edit with AI. If I open up this card, you'll see that there are a lot of options, quite a few options for writing. There's also a free text field where you can ask AI to do anything you need. But there's also here at the bottom, these two interesting tools for visual storytelling. Make this more visual and add an image. So we're going to do both of those in a moment. I also wanted to showcase the try new layout feature, and that's what I'll do in a moment in the next slide, because this is an easy way to see a lot of different options at once so that you don't have to think about what might look good. You can kind of go shopping and do window shopping and figure out what does look good. So if I go to this nested card, there is quite a bit of text here. This is something that is, a multi-hundred word rundown on the history of infographics. So let's see what AI can do and how Gamma can help me make this more visual and tell a story with pictures, not words. So first I'm going to go ahead and make this more visual, and we'll see what it does. I'm always surprised and I'm usually impressed by what Gamma comes up with. So let me go ahead and click that. So you can see here at the top, there is a progress indicator that says Gamma is visualizing this. We're thinking about how to make this perfect for you. You can also see this loading indicator saying we're working on it. All right, and now it's popping in. So you can see already this is quite a bit more visual. We have some images that are popping in here. You also have this alternating layout. Yes, it's still text heavy, but the text heaviness feels different. To me, it feels less intimidating as a reader or viewer, like, oh, who's got time to read that? And more like it's glanceable. There's visual hierarchy. I can see, okay, here's a headline. In a moment, there'll be an image that I can take a look at. And that's going to make me as a reader or a viewer be able to understand, where do I want to double click? Where do I want to spend more time? And what is really, as I skim through this, the point? So of course, because we're generating a lot of images from scratch, it's going to take a moment, but we'll let that generate in the background, and I'll go ahead and show you another feature. This feature is brand new. This is called Visualize This Text. So, ooh, so you can see quite a few images here. We've got origins in prehistory and antiquity. We've got, in a moment, this image will pop in with the birth of modern statistical, but being able to see, oh, this is what it could feel like if it was more visual. And actually now I'm done editing and I can accept that is quite a bit different from, staring at a wall of text and wondering how you're going to break. So because that completed, I'm going to go ahead and use another feature that is here in this menu as well, try new layout. So I'll go ahead and get that generating. So what this is doing is our AI is really thinking about your slide content and thinking about what could be some great ways to visualize this. And let's give you as the user a lot of options because you'll know it when you see it, but you shouldn't have to make all those decisions from scratch in the abstract. You should be able to, as I said, kind of go shopping and see what's there for you. So all of those will pop in. You can see that we've got a version that has some arrows. So that's more of kind of a timeline view. More will pop in over time, but I also am realizing we're near the half-hour mark and I want to leave plenty of time for the demo and questions. So we'll let these generate in the background, but just know that I find it a really fun shopping experience to see all the options Gamma comes up with for me and then choosing one that's close to the direction I want and then going in and dialing it in to make it just right. Here's another one. Okay, so I'll go ahead and close that. What I want to show is visualize this text. So here we have a card on the principles of graphic design. Graphic design blends creativity and strategy to communicate messages visually and effectively. And here I have some bullet points, but I think I can do better than that. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to highlight the text, and I'm going to say visualize. Here, we're going to insert a smart diagram, and you'll see that that came together in a flash. It matches exactly what's here. We've got balance, we've got contrast, we've got hierarchy, and we've got repetition and rhythm. And it's chosen an icon for each of those. More than that, because this already chose a great diagram and chose icons, I can make the icons even better if I want. I can toy with this text if I have something different that I want to communicate. But to me, it's so helpful to have the AI take a first pass at distilling the core insights so that it is visual, simple, high impact. And there's even the ability to go in here and choose a different color combo and have it all look right together and be theme aware. So that's what I gotten to in terms of sharing smart diagrams, smart layouts, edit with AI, and visualize this text. Just to summarize the tools we just showed and the tools we'll be getting into in the live demo, we've got a number of tools in Gamma for visualizing your big ideas. New this month, we've got smart diagrams. We also have more smart layouts than ever before. We also have the ability to edit with AI. And then we have the ability to visualize this text when you select it. So that's what we have to share today. And one thing that we'll call back to at the end is that this is a passion for all of us at Gamma, and we've been thinking about it for a long time. In my case, even since before I joined the team, this is a long blog post from 2022 that I shared with the founders even back then and kind of helped us all think about the potential of tools for imagination. And in my view, I wanted to see this category exist. I dreamed of tools being good enough to be really daily drivers, and we're so proud to be able to do that for you in Gamma and try to make it better every day. So let's get into the demo.
Great. Thank you so much, Diana. And we got a lot of great feedback in the chat. I'm going to share my screen, although we'll see it may make sense once we generate the gamma to go back to your screen, but let's start with me. Um, Okay, so this is a little bit fun and a little bit serious. The fun part is that I'm going to show you a business plan for my dream business, which I'll talk about in a second. The serious part is that I am actually a very text-based person. I am a writer first. I am definitely not a designer, and part of the reason why I wanted to join Gamma in the first place is I am very much in that core persona of someone who needs to generate a lot of content as a marketer, but just does not have the design skills to present confidently. So this tool has been a real game changer for me, even in my everyday work at Gamma. The slightly more fun part, so my business is a spiritual dog walking business called Zen Paws. And basically, my idea is to walk your dogs, but also take them through a spiritual awakening as part of walking with me. And so I generated a business plan that has, 5 phases of canine enlightenment, of course, different service packages and investment opportunities. I have the case studies here for dogs that it's worked for. And this seems like a good opportunity for something where, I can share this business plan with my friends or potential clients, and they probably wouldn't look at it twice. But I feel like this would really come alive in Gamma. So my hope is that I can work here with Diana to transform this into something very visual. So you will literally see me copy it, move into Gamma and go into the paste and text flow. I'm going to paste it here. Anything else I should be thinking about here, Diana?
Let's scroll down to the bottom and make sure that we have the right option set for you. So you have a few options here. You can generate from notes or an outline. You can summarize it if you feel it's too wordy already, or you can preserve the exact text if this exact text is important to you. Which feels more right for where you are?
I see this as an outline, so I'm happy with it being uh, a bit condensed, but I don't want it to be too short. So I think this default works for me.
Great. Let's go to it. So yeah, you can go ahead and continue to the prompt editor.
Okay.
So here, there's a lot of power packed into this screen, and I know many of you have become just wizards at using it to achieve your wildest dreams in Gamma. Today, we're going to do more of a simplified flow, and that's what I'd recommend for you, Akiva, given your starting point. But I think that there's a lot to explore in this screen, and we could do a whole separate deep dive on all the power packed into here. So here, I think one thing for you to think about is the text length, whether you're looking for something that is detailed, concise, maybe even minimal, extensive. You'd previously mentioned that you wanted there to be a good amount of text, but not overwhelming. So I think concise or detailed would be great choices for you.
I'm going to go with concise because I feel like I have the business plan as text for anyone who wants to go deeper. My goal here is to present it in as visually appealing a manner as possible.
Okay, fantastic. And then I even see some tone notes, which are again part of that overall impression. Who are you going to write for? Here it says wellness enthusiast with a sense of humor. I think it picked that up from your outline, and that matches the Akiva I know. But if you wanted to, we could go back and make a super serious, presentation for a bank. But let's do the humorous version first.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I'm serious about this, but I also want to sell to people who may think it's funny.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
all helps me. Yeah.
It's you. That's the Akiva I know.
Yeah.
So I think the highest impact thing for you to think about on this screen is really the visuals. Which one of these themes has the feel that you want for the kind of customer you're trying to attract?
Yeah. I could click in and view more, but I already know that I like night sky. I think there is it gets to the sense of holiness and spirituality that I'm trying to go for here. Um, Even though I would mostly be walking these dogs during the day, I think I also just think this is going to look good visually.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it has a connection to your message and that it's that kind of nighttime walk, spiritual feel, but it's also kind of simple enough to let your message shine. So since we talked about images earlier, this is also a chance to share our image source feature where even
Oh,
before you
wait, hold
generate
on.
your,
Can people not see my screen?
Right
Um,
now, we see the Gamma app outline with the card outlines.
Oh, sorry. That might
yep.
be just me.
okay. Oh, everyone can see it. Okay. No
Okay,
problem.
great.
Go right ahead.
Perfect. So then the next thing is to really choose your image source and style. So if you click that AI images option, do you think you want AI images here? Would you rather have illustrations? What are you feeling?
I'm a fan of pictographic illustrations.
Yeah,
Uh,
me too. They always look so good, very consistent. Um, and then if you scroll back down, all right, format, presentation, default, I think that's going to work well for you. And then if you scroll all the way to the bottom, it has you generating 7 cards total. Does that feel about right?
that feels good.
Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and click generate and see what Gamma comes up with.
Okay.
All right, it's flowing in. I see that the pictographic illustration inserted in a theme-aware way, so it knows to use white line art instead of dark line art. All right, we're generating some layouts here. I can see that it's chosen to use a smart layout. All right, we've got a little bit of a process and it's chosen a vertical layout. Here are some cards. This is one of the new smart layouts. I love the way that looks, and it's put in an info box as a call out. All right, it's using some stats. That's also a smart layout. All right, there's a lot for us to work with here, but I'm me. I have my own impression of this. What's your impression as the person whose business this is?
Um, I like it. I feel like it could be still even more visual. Um, and I think this in particular is very core to my business. And I want to make sure this pops. So even though we went for concise, which it is compared to the business plan, I feel like this is an area where I would love to do more visually to represent these phases.
And that makes perfect sense. I think that part of the journey of visual storytelling is seeing it all formatted so that you can visually process it as though you were a viewer, and then trying to figure out what's the diff, like what's the difference or the gap between what you were going for in terms of impact and what you feel as almost like a pseudo viewer in this first glance experience. So I think that the timeline view here, it makes sense why the generator chose that, but I think we can do better. So if you could go ahead and put your cursor just below the headline and insert a new line, and then let's go ahead and go to the Smart Diagrams option in the menu. Click that. Got a lot of choices here. If I'm thinking about what will work best in this case, I'm really drawn to slope, actually. I think that slope is going to convey, that's in the lower left. I think it's going to convey that sense of progress, while also helping people understand that these are bounded phases. That's really important when you're sharing an offering, is to set expectations and boundaries with the client up front so that they know that you are in the driver's seat and you are taking care of them and you're looking out for them and you have a plan. So let's go ahead and click that to insert it. It's going to take a moment to generate. All right,
Ooh.
so you can see it's come in with some headlines as well as it's chosen some icons. Let's go through them one by one to make sure that they're just right for you. But before we do that, any initial impressions? How does this feel different to you from the timeline view?
What I like about the slope, and I'm guessing the reason you chose it, is that it's kind of a vertical journey. So to me, uh, and to my bank account, but really to me, it's important that everyone takes this complete journey. Like if you drop off at telepathic communication, you're not going to get to the energy cleansing. And to me, that would be a bad outcome. But I also like that this frames it as it's almost like a mountain we're climbing together, which I may do literally with some of these thoughts. And I like that you reach enlightenment at the end. So I think even though this is portrayed as a chronological journey, I think it's more important than the fact that it takes 12 weeks is that you are ascending to a plane of enlightenment. So,
Yeah, I mean, so we'd actually, by the way, everyone, there's no way we could have planned this exact outcome in advance because the AI has a mind of its own, and we are so glad it does because it makes good choices and it's designed to do that. But Akiva's reaction is a real one, which is that this feels like it conveys something different than the timeline did, partly because it's plugging into a visual language of how we talk about progress. Progress in the US is coded as up and to the right. And I think that specifically what Akiva is getting at is that this idea that you start at one place and then all the steps compound and you can't skip steps. You need to do each of these steps in order to get to the outcome of your dreams. That helps to set the right tone in a conversation with a client, because if their reaction to this visual is, I'm not really interested in telepathic communication, you now have a way to have the conversation of, I can understand why you think that. Many people feel that way, but in my experience, telepathic communication is how we get to that energy cleansing step. And, without that, we're never going to get to canon enlightenment. And so part of visual communication is creating the visual hierarchy structures, high impact visuals that support the conversation you want to have and invite certain questions and get ahead of certain questions. So because we've inserted this, we have some room to play. Already it's quite good, but let's look at some of the editing options just so that we make this perfect for you. Are there any of those icons that feel to you like they could be better, a little more tuned?
This one definitely. Intentional movement. Interesting. Let's
Yeah.
try meditation
uh,
icon. Let's try movement. That isn't quite right.
Walking.
Yeah, I think even something like this,
Yeah, that
it's
conveys some
literally
movement.
intentional movement.
Yeah. Okay, love it. Any other icons that you feel could be better?
This one, I don't love the question mark.
Yeah, to me, it makes you seem less unsure and confident. So let's go ahead and type in maybe brain or mind.
Oops. Um, I think I want something that shows two people
Mm,
communicating.
mhm.
Listening here. Um,
Maybe that comment with the smiley face inside it.
let's see, where's that?
It's maybe 5 rows from the bottom in the middle. Yeah, there
Oh,
we
this
go.
one. Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, that already works better. And enlightenment, I see why we have the light bulb. I'm fine with it. I would be curious to see um what it would come up with first. Or just light. Yeah, a lot of interesting options here, but I'll stick with the light bulb for the moment.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. And so, much more we could do with this. We could change the colors, we could toy with the text. But because we're trying to make this whole presentation fit together and really end with a bang, let's go to the end and go beyond smart diagrams and smart layouts and think about what is the punchiest closing slide that we can imagine. So this one's pretty good. It has a bit of a closing thought. I think that it'll set up an aspirational conversation about pricing and packaging. But let's go ahead and see if we can do better by adding a new slide. This will be the last thing we do in the live demo, and then we'll do questions.
Great.
So, all right. What I'm thinking is it would be great to have a full background image here. So let's go ahead to the paint palette, and then let's select the far right option at the top. That's going to give you the option to have an image in the background. And then if you click edit on the background image right there, first it's going to drop you into accent images. These are beautiful. These came with the theme, and I think any one of them would be a good choice. But let's go ahead and see if we can do even better by clicking into what are you feeling? Do you want unsplash images? Do you want illustrations again? Do you want to generate something?
Let's stick with illustrations to be consistent.
Okay. Perfect. So maybe here is a chance. Ooh, I think that last image really does. I mean, the one with the clouds really is jumping out at me in terms of enlightenment. But this is your presentation. What's
This
jumping
one?
out at you? Yeah.
I agree. I like that he seems to have a leash. I wish there was like a
Mm,
dog on it.
yeah.
But let's see how this renders. Yeah, it looks
All
a
right. And because I want that image to pop, let's go ahead in the paint palette and click that, click card styling, and then let's dial down the overlay intensity.
oh, perfect.
All right, amazing. And then for fun, let's add a call to action button. This is something that if you shared the presentation digitally or if you published it as a site would make it clickable. So if you go ahead and because you're a pro, you can use slash commands. So if you just do slash and button, I think should work. All right. And then you can paste a link and hit enter. In this case, we can imagine you have a website or
Then
something like that.
pause. Might
Yep.
actually, this would be a sad time to find out that it's already taken, but
Yeah, exactly. And then it's got a color option already for you. And if you click the color, you'll see a few other on-theme options. I think that looks pretty good. Um, so if you click off of this, it'll finish inserting the button, and then maybe you can type into the button and say,
join the journey.
yeah, join the journey. I love that. All right. Okay. And that's that.
All
So
right.
much more we could do here. We could literally spend another 45 minutes making this the presentation of our dreams if we wanted. Um, Part of what I wanted to share today is that our goal with Gamma is that the first version is so good that you relax. The stress melts and you start getting excited about communicating your idea exactly the way you want. And everything on top of that first version is play, and it's you connecting with the ideas that matter most so that you can deliver them with confidence. So Kiva, thank you for being the guinea pig.
Well,
Any final
I'm
thoughts
just
from
gonna
you on
say,
that?
even though this was theoretical and guinea pig, I already have Zoe Siegel's asking where she can send a check, a seed check. So that's that. But yeah, I think we have about 10 minutes left for questions. Deho or Amanda, do you want to surface anything from the Q&A for Diana to tackle?
Yeah, I'll just go first. I mean, so we have the top voted question with 7 votes. Would it be possible to upload brand guidelines to prompt Gamma to create a presentation in the brand style?
This is so on our minds. Let me tell you about the now, the soon, and the future state. Today, we already have the ability for you to craft your own theme from scratch and to make that a default in your workspace. That means that every new presentation, site, set of social cards that gets generated will do so with your brand guidelines. That's available today, and I think that would be a great follow-up session. Maybe even if we have a few minutes at the end, we can show you where that feature is so that you can get a taste of it. The next is that I really strongly believe that Gamma should deliver on effortlessly on-brand visual storytelling for everyone. And there's a lot that goes into that because your brand is so special to you. If you have a brand you're proud of, you want it to be reflected precisely in Gamma. But what's interesting to me is that we're not a slide stool of old, we're a new medium for visual communication, and brands are big enough to hold all of that. You can have one brand that shows up on consumer packaging of your peanut butter brand, and also shows up on billboards as you're building your business, and also shows up on a website, and also shows up on business cards. Great brands are designed to be fractal and be able to work a lot of different places, but all feel cohesive and consistent. And so what we're working on now is ways to let you share more of your brand assets in Gamma so that we can draw from those on generation. And even if the outcome, especially if the outcome doesn't feel like old slides, it feels perfectly you. And then in the far future, I think that there's a lot we can do around actually helping you shape your brand. And as you go from idea to something bigger that maybe has multiple people working on it, or that's making millions in revenue a year, or that's making a huge difference on the world stage, we're able to go on that journey with you of building your brand from scratch and really having a tool for imagination that helps you start from the seed of an idea and grow it into something bigger that shows up everywhere you want it to.
Awesome. I'm gonna take over the Q&A and I'm gonna be sorting by most upvotes. So if you have a question you really want to see answered. So the next question comes from Andre, which I think is more of a feature request, but the comment is there should be a way to create custom templates instantly based on a prompt instead of a step-by-step process.
Fully agree. I think that you're pointing to one of the many places that we can help you go from idea to reality faster. And templates mean different things to different people, but what it means to me is that whenever you share ideas, there are some things you want to hold constant across all of those expressions, and there's some things you want to vary. And we are very tuned into that, and we're thinking about the very best way to enable that consistency and variability within an AI-powered tool. The good news is that AI is amazing at variation. And the better news is that our team is really strong on figuring out systems that enable visual consistency and tone consistency that flow through everywhere you want them to. And I think that what you'll see come together is that generativity as well as that consistency, combining in really exciting ways to enable templates that help you tell the story you want to tell. But again, templates mean different things to different people. To me, it's all about how can we address those core needs of variation and consistency.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, the next question we have is from Rodolfo, and the question is, what are best practices for using image generation to create diagrams that are aligned with your Gamma's text?
Mm-hmm. So hi, Rodolfo. I think this is my friend Rodolfo. So thank you very much for being here. So, there's so much we could go into here, and image generation is unbelievably powerful. Those of you who've kind of fallen down the rabbit hole, it's amazing because image generation solves a lot of visual communication. And my favorite thing about Gamma on the AI imagery front is that if you just have, a folder full of images you've generated, what good does that do? Stitching those images into a consistent story that has an arc that's conveying a message you want to share, that's where images start to have more impact. So in terms of generating imagery that connects to the content in your Gamma, we already do a lot around pre-filling prompt fields, both in the initial generation flow and in the edit flow, based on what's already on the slide. But we always want you to be in the driver's seat. So whatever is in that prompt field is editable by you, but we'll make suggestions based on where we think you're going. And I think that as we add more and more powerful image models, you'll see some of what we've been seeing, which is that the latest and greatest image models, the very frontier ones that sometimes cost up to $1 an image for generation, they're getting remarkably good at conveying text in visual hierarchy as well. And we see that as all part of the spectrum of visual communication inside Gamma.
Awesome. Great. Okay, let's see. Moving down the line, we have a question from Jerry Wright. Can Gamma generate visuals, infographics, graphics, etc., from Word or PDF documents?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you may be meaning something very specific by this, in which case we'd be happy to follow up. But that basic flow of take text, put it in Gamma, and then see what Gamma can do and make it even more visual from there. That's exactly the flow that Akiva walked through with the dog walking business. And I think that the key point that is useful to know is Akiva pursued the flow by copying and pasting, but there was also an import button in that flow. And so you're able to take a moment there to import a PDF or import a document of some kind, and we'll draw the text from there as well. And that will be as though you pasted it. So, one of the things that for me is one of the, ahas of Gamma is that text in PDFs is weirdly hard to select with your mouse. I don't know if any of you have found this, especially if it's kind of a designed PDF. It can be really tricky to actually select all of the text at once. Gamma makes that easy because we use text parsing on our end. That means you don't have to put your mouse in exactly the right place to highlight all the text. You can just import a PDF and go from there.
Awesome. Great. Okay. The next question we have is it's more of a feature request. And it says, I'd love a feature that turns uploaded mind map sketches into refined visuals, making it easy for anyone with a quick idea to bring it to life without needing advanced design skills.
I love that. And to me, that's so kind of tools for imagination core, we can say. I think that I can imagine lots of ways that we could address that wish, and you'll see us build more and more of that over time. To me, I'm so interested in, first of all, taking literal sketches and using those as the basis for a slide. I think that that should be completely within reach as being able to take a photo of something that you sketched in a notebook or on a whiteboard and use that as part of the generate process. Of course, we have to build it, but it's not unthinkable. But I think that there's even more we can do when we're thinking about what is kind of that next generation mind mapping experience where you're using Gamma as a visual thought partner along the way, not just for the finished product, but for your own process of shaping and refining ideas. So lots to explore there. And I really love how this crew especially is thinking expansively about AI, tools for imagination, what more you want to see from Gamma over time.
Awesome. And thanks for answering all the rapid fire questions. There's a lot to get through. But
Yeah,
we're kind of at the end of the upvoted questions. So I want to make sure Grant, one of our Gambassadors, had a question specifically about smart diagrams. Is it possible to drop a smart diagram into a text box so that it stands out from the presentation background?
ooh, interesting. It sounds like what you're looking for is a way to have the smart diagram have more of kind of a container so that it is more contrasting with the background. I think there's a lot of ways you could accomplish that, and I'm going to go back and think about what the best one is. But in general, yes, you can insert smart diagrams anywhere on a slide, and I think that we're really excited to see examples that any of you come up with of how you tuned a smart diagram to being exactly the end result you were looking for, because that gives us ideas of how to make that kind of power user outcome more accessible to everybody in the tools we build.
I just want to jump in since we only have a couple minutes left. Firstly, just to thank Diana so much. She's working on a lot of new features. I'll just tell those of you who are in this room with us, September is going to be our biggest feature launch month ever. So there is plenty more to come. I also want to say we are planning to do many, many more live events. We just upgraded to a new webinar tool, Goldcast. So this will hopefully be one of the last times we use Zoom webinar. But the reason I say that is we also want to incorporate much more participation from you all. Today I was the guinea pig. Next time it could be another one of you. I see Irina in the chat. I'll be in touch about our higher ed event. Maybe you'd be willing to appear on screen there. But really want to feature your work much more. And what I did with Diana today was very much live. So we would love to help you solve more of your problems in real time. So if that's something interesting to you, you can always reach out to me directly. I'm akiva@gamma.app. But please keep an eye out. We're going to be doing many more events. And if you are a teacher or know someone in higher ed, please let them know about the event coming up. Thank you so much. And thank you so much to all of you who asked questions. Hopefully we were able to get most of them, but sorry we didn't get to all of them. Thank you so much. Hopefully you have a great rest of your day, and
Thank
we'll get
you.
the recording as well. Thanks so much.
Amazing to meet you all. Bye.
Bye bye.